Back to the channel. Today I'm making autumn chowder. We're going to be watching football in the background, so from this point on in the video you won't hear any sound. I will leave a description for each item as we go along, what we're going to do, and let's get started.
Alright, what we're going to do is start by using a large pan. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter. We want to make sure the butter is not too hot. We're going to put it on a medium heat and go from there. I'm going to stir it around just a little bit. And to our butter, we're going to add 1 cup of chopped bacon, or bacon crumbles, bacon bits. I like the bacon crumbles from Costco. It just makes things so much easier. Now we're going to use 2 stalks of celery. We're going to chop them. You don't have to do it finely chopped, just a bulk chop. And then we're going to do 2 carrots chopped thin lengthwise. And we want to use nice hearty chunks is what I'm looking for, or what the recipe calls for, because this is more of a rustic type of chowder. And chowders are always kind of thick and chunky. Alright, now we're going to take out the bacon from the pan. Want to give it one last stir. I'm going to turn off the heat. We're going to drain the bacon bits from the pan. As we take it out, we're going to leave some of that butter and oil from the bacon in the pan. It really improves the taste. So all I'm doing right now is just spooning out the bacon and making sure that I get all the little crumbles. It's okay if you leave some on the bottom, that's no big deal. It actually adds to the flavor. And I'm using a paper towel to drain a lot of that oil off of. Now we're going to use 1 medium onion. We're going to chop it, and you can use any type of onion. You can use a Vidalia, a red, a white, a yellow. It's your choice. I'm just using what I have on hand. I have a lot of white onions, so I'm using a white onion. And like I said before, you don't want this finely chopped, you just want it chunked up. Okay, now I'm going to add the chopped onions to the pan that had the bacon in it. And we're gonna cook it down. We're gonna saute it for a few minutes. We want it tender, and onions need to sweat a little bit to get a lot of that flavor out. Now I'm gonna use 1 of each, a red, a white, and a sweet potato. I love this recipe, adding the sweet potato. It just adds something a little extra to the taste. It really gives it a little kick of fall, I guess. So it really adds to the flavor, I think. And like I said, you want to do these in chunks, no bigger than 1-inch cubes. Alright, now we're going to the pot, we're going to add the celery, the carrots, the potatoes. And you've already got your onions in there. sauteing and marinating. So the combination of flavors is going to be amazing. Alright, now we're going to add 3 cups of water. You see here I'm kind of touching the pan gingerly to see if it's hot. These all-clad pans the handles, when you cook with them, they do get warm. Alright, I just added 2 cups. I'm adding another cup in. And you're starting out with, it doesn't matter if it's cold water, hot water, you just want 3 cups in. You turn up the heat. Right now it's on a medium-low, so we're going to turn it on a medium, and we're just going to let this go for a few minutes. What we're trying to do is get our vegetables to become tender. Okay, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, the better than bouillon roasted chicken. I find that using this versus powdered or cubed, it just works better for me. It's more convenient. It has a really good taste. Had I had some freeze-dried chicken stock, I would have used that, but this is what I have. So we're just going to add that in, mix it together. We want it to all blend. We want to make sure that the chicken bouillon is completely mixed in. That's why I keep stirring it. It just adds, the chicken bouillon just adds something to it. And it's that roasted chicken flavor that you just can't seem to get with a cube or powder. I am adding a teaspoon of black pepper, and you can be generous with this if you like pepper, because it doesn't detract from the actual flavor of the chowder. It just seems to intensify it a little bit. And you want to make sure that it's completely mixed in. Now we're going to cover and let this simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes because you want your vegetables to become tender. Alright, I'm going to be checking it here soon, and if you notice, I'm using a pot holder on these all-clad pans. Like I said before, they do get hot when you're cooking with them. Alright, the potatoes are tender, the carrot is tender, so we're ready for the next step. I'm going to add 2 cups of corn. You can add frozen or fresh, it doesn't matter. I'm using frozen because that's what I have on hand. And you just want to make sure it's all stirred in. Once the corn's in, you can add salt if you want to at this point, but I'd wait just a little bit on that. If you really like a lot of flavor, you can add garlic to this recipe. I didn't. Now I'm adding 2 cups of milk. I'm using myself for my recipe is 1% because that's what I use. That's what I drink the most of. So you can use whole milk, you can use 2%, you can use non-fat, but you're going to use 2 cups, and you're going to let this just slightly simmer on a low temperature. Now we're going to add in 4 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. And you want to make sure that you kind of like drizzle it all over the top and not just lump it in. You want it spread out a little bit because when you go to mix it in, you don't want those lumps to appear. And I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to gently work it in, and not vigorously, but just gently work it in. And it's just When you do it this way, it just doesn't seem to lump up. And you want your chowder at this point to be on a very low temperature. You don't want it boiling or bubbling. That's why your flour incorporates better. Okay, at this point you can turn up the heat just a little bit. So we're gonna go to about a medium in the temperature. And you notice it's really starting to get some color, and that's just the flavor coming out. Now you can use a teaspoon of salt, and this is optional and it's to taste. So if you are like me, I don't use a whole lot of salt. Normally I don't cook with salt, but this recipe calls for salt. It does add a little flavor to it, but you can substitute something like Mrs. Dash's original table blend, which would be really good. Now I like a little kick to my chowder, so I added 2 teaspoons of red pepper flakes, crushed pepper. Oh, it's so good. It gives it just that slight hint of a kick, you know, just a little bit of heat, but not that much. So you're gonna mix it all in, and you're gonna have it on a medium heat, and you just want to bring everything up to temperature. It doesn't have to bubble like crazy. You just want a nice gentle bubble, and once you want it to bubble for like 2 minutes, that's it. Turn it off. And now we're going to add 2 cups of cheese, shredded cheese. This can be any type of cheese, any type of cheese blend. I'm using a Colby Jack, and you notice I don't use measuring cups that much in this dish. This is all by hand. Just a pinch of this, a pinch of that, a handful of this, a handful of that. So I did give you precise measurements on everything that is in the recipe. Once you add the cheese, you just blend it in and you let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes and then serve. And it is a fantastic chowder. I'm really surprised at how well this turned out. Okay, so adding your soup, your chowder to the bowl. Once you get that done, once you serve it, you top it with the bacon bits. You can also add a sour cream to this, which I did, and it was fantastic. I was so surprised. The bacon bits really does bring out the flavor, and the sour cream just adds a little something to it. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did.
Almost forgot to take a taste. This is a winner. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.